Welcome to the Tactical Dent Tech Podcast. You are now part of a small underground movement of dent technicians from all over the world. We are on a mission to change our industry with innovation, intelligence, and skill. But because we don't rely on an insurance company to steer customers our way, we need to do things different. We need to do things smarter. We do that through a network of technicians that we call the Tactical Tech Movement. Now let's get this revolution started.
Hey, what's happening, everybody? This is Neo. This is Trinity. And it is the Matrix edition of the Tactical Dent Tech Podcast. You guys have entered a zone that not many people talk about.
Oh, dear Lord.
A zone that we know all of us are indulging in secretly because we don't want anybody to think that we've lost our minds.
I just snorted. Oh, shit.
This is a trip down conspiracy theory lane
Oh, dear Lord.
with the Tactical Dent Tech Podcast. Welcome, everybody. And for all of you audio listeners, jump on my wall. Check it out. We have our protection. We have our metal hats on.
Oh, no, tinfoil.
This way, we're not going to have to worry about anybody or anything reading our thoughts. So
Look how
welcome,
pokey
everybody.
Look how pokey mine is.
Now, this day and age, in these times,
Oh, conehead.
I think it's appropriate that we discuss some of the things that are happening out in the world
take your
that are
sunglasses
causing
off.
us.
Take your sunglasses.
These things are causing us to question the integrity of the entire system. We're going to go down a rabbit hole.
Well, no, we're going to go down
We're
more
going
than just,
to
more than one.
Hashtag follow the right.
Oh, you got it. You
Follow the white rabbit. Hashtag follow the right. That's like the right. Follow the right wingers. No, wait. Follow the white rabbit down the hole.
I want a t-shirt that says that. Hashtag follow the white rabbit.
What's going on, everybody? Hope you guys are having an amazing night. You know, just like many of you guys out there, me and the wifey, we keep hearing about these banned videos. We start hearing about all of these things that are going on out there. You know, in fact, one of the things that we actually discovered during our, let's just say our pursuit of the white rabbit was that secretly the CIA created the word conspiracy theory just to discredit anybody who steps outside of their narrative.
Ooh.
But then I started thinking like deep on that. And then I was like, well, what if that could be a conspiracy theory too?
I feel like I need to be like closer to you or something.
What if the CIA is actually
There you go.
controlling the narrative, even giving us our conspiracy theories? So literally, there's conspiracy theories up on conspiracy theories.
Yep. No, so a few weeks ago. Okay, let's take these hats off now.
I'm going to wear mine.
You can wear yours. No, actually, a few weeks ago, John said something to me. He's like, hey, Angela, he's like, let's go ahead and do a podcast about conspiracy theories. And I was like, man, I don't know. I feel kind of uncomfortable doing that right now. I was like, so let me at least have like a week or so to think about
At
it.
the time, we did not know if there was many of you that are just like us.
No, because
But if you scroll down and you see a meme that I posted earlier, we tested the market. What did the meme say? The meme said from 1 to 10. Okay, so 1 to 10, where are you on COVID-19? Are you number one are you the person who's driving the car wearing a mask and gloves? And then on the 10 side of the spectrum, are you discovering and learning things about the Illuminati? Yeah. And I looked at it, I was like, damn, man, I'm like on the 10. And then when I posted the meme, and it just got all kinds of traction, and there were people that were like, do you have like 20 or 30 or 40? So ideally, most of the people that are following us, I believe, have at least indulged in a couple conspiracies since this happened. If this doesn't cause you to fucking look into shit and just say, hey, you know, there's something fucking wrong going on here. Are they trying to pull one over on me? Taking my hat off. Are they trying to pull one over on me? Then when the fuck would you ever wake up and actually begin looking into some of that stuff? What I found is, in all honesty, so with the
You just like totally, I was like saying something, and then you just like cut right in front of me.
I cut you off,
because
girl.
Listen, John is
it a conspiracy?
Oh my God. John is going to try to play it off that like he's further down the rabbit hole.
No, she's way further down. She got all kinds of time and shit at home when she's doing stuff to be looking around at that stuff all day long. So when I come home, there's always a new conspiracy theory.
I went down the rabbit holes pretty far.
We go back and forth on Trump. I'm just going to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Sometimes I think he's with them.
I know.
Other times I'm like, he's with us.
Yeah.
You know? And but in all honesty, I truly, when you talk about some of these conspiracy theory videos that are out there, shit, we recently watched one. What was the one that pretty much broke down? The lady actually, she got arrested here from Ohio.
Yeah, Miley Weaver. So I don't know if she still works for, was that Info Wars?
Yeah.
Or something like that. I don't know if she still works for them or she ended up getting fired or something of that nature. But if you guys haven't watched Shadowgate, I highly recommend that one. You will find it on YouTube. You might have to like do a little research, and it might take you a little bit longer.
I downloaded it.
Yeah, John
yes,
downloaded
I
it.
became one of them.
Yeah, and it's actually a really good one. It kind of like puts in perspective a little kind of thing that I always questioned, is they kind of break shit down on how the election is basically rigged.
Yeah.
I mean,
you know, and in a sense, in all honesty, in these conspiracy theory videos, there's only so much that I believe.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I truly believe that there's literally the depth that you can go into some of these. I mean, there was even one that went to the extent to where it was saying that all of these politicians had already been caught, and some of them had already been basically executed, and other ones were at Guantanamo Bay, and that literally that they were using technology
like
to
robots?
appear or robots to appear, and actors to appear that they were still alive. That's fucking crazy, man.
I don't know, but then there's that thing on YouTube about the
the
guy from the Vatican,
the Pope,
the Pope,
right?
Yeah.
So if you watch a YouTube video, apparently there's and who knows? Like I don't know. Look, I'm a video editor. I could take that video and I could fucking make the Pope flicker out of the scene. Like, all you really got to do, if it's a steady camera, is take another scene, put it in front of it, and then flick it in there real quick, okay? So it literally was the Pope, like, flickering and disappearing like he was a projection, right? That shit's fucking crazy. That's a little too far down the rabbit hole, you know what I mean? But some of that stuff on Shadowgate, I could actually agree with, you know? Like, some of it was just talking about how they try to control the narrative, like, here on social media. And some of it was talking about how they actually, look, guys, I'm a marketer, you know what I mean? So I understand how many points of interest, like Facebook, for instance, has on me and you. We used to say around like 3,000, and now they're talking about it's more along the lines of 10,000, like basically like variations of points of interest. Like they literally know on Facebook if you like dogs or if you like cats, you know what I mean? Like they know, and they follow, and they keep tabs on everything that you do here. Now for me, like for human beings in general, are like, oh shit, that's kind of scary, right? So we got somebody keeps a running tab, and they pretty much got a profile of exactly who each and every one of us. You put that in the wrong hands, you know what I mean? Somebody could literally have a specific profile lining up to the gas chamber, you know what I mean? That's the fear. That's the big fear behind it, because they can easily profile individuals. For a marketer on my end of the spectrum, I always loved it, and I still, I utilize it because you can literally use it to connect and sell things to anybody. So if it is actually used appropriately, it can be beneficial. That's to say, in the future, is it always going to be used appropriately? And I want to say Shadowgate was a good example of exactly how much money.
It also, and basically they're saying like how, because John, he never lets me talk hardly that much. You're the, what is
But
that
then
called?
if I'm actually super quiet on the show, you'll stop and say, "What? Come on, you're supposed to keep us going, John."
Well, sometimes I get lost with words. No, Shadowgate basically states that it's not the people that we see in public are not the ones that are technically pulling all the strings. It's these other people that are doing it that are in like the CIA and with the FBI. And basically they create, They create like businesses. And basically what it is they're gathering all this information on you. And then the CIA works with Hollywood to kind of like, they're basically, what are they doing to you?
Essentially, they're creating a narrative. And they're also, you got to think about it, guys. Years ago, we just didn't, we weren't exposed to a lot of things that we're exposed to today, okay? So essentially, Hollywood makes they kind of normalize prostitution.
Oh, I got a good story for that one.
Yeah, they normalize, like killing, death, murdering, stuff like that. Like shit that years ago would be like super repulsive. I mean, like super repulsive.
But they also
it's
did
a
the
way
thing.
that,
Wait a minute, let me see something. I'm sorry. But they also did that
I want you to talk, but I don't want you to talk. But wait a second, I want you to talk, but I don't want you to talk. But if you talk too much, then I'm going to start talking, then I'm not going to know what, and then you're going to talk, and then I'm going to talk.
Okay, so they did that thing about the whole, like in the beginning with the corona about the paper towels, the paper products and stuff like that. Like the CIA purposely put shit out there so that everybody would freak out and be going out there buying and hoarding paper towels and toilet paper.
And you know what pisses me off about that? That means that they literally put your ass at risk and my ass at risk. Who knows? If everybody had bought all the toilet paper, I'd be wiping my ass with a acorn or some shit like that. Or like a fucking monkey trying to wipe my ass with my hands and then wash it off in the sink. That's fucking crazy. So literally, they put our ass on the line,
Yes.
So,
They did.
Yeah. So essentially what she's saying is they put information out there and control a narrative. And I truly believe it. That's something I can fall behind. That's something I definitely can believe in. I can stand behind that. Yes, the government wants to control the narrative. It's kind of fucking interesting when you look at all the governors of every state that are saying the exact fucking thing.
Yeah.
And you can actually watch the state by state by state, the COVID cases rising. You could watch literally how they take away and strip rights from businesses one by one. Mm-hmm. They start off with the businesses that are much more vulnerable, the ones that can, so where do they start? The bars. Well, number one, a fucking liquor license is stupid expensive. I mean, I know it's $50,000 here in Ohio. It's got to be way more in other states. So they start off with the businesses that have the most to lose, that literally a state representative could walk in and fucking take something away from them of massive value. And then what do? They tier right on down to the restaurants. They can close down the restaurants. They can take their liquor license, and then what do? They roll right on down to the salons, anybody that they can actually take something away. Yeah. So if they take enough people and they shut down their businesses, and then they start threatening to shut down other people's businesses, you almost got like a twofold, because you got the people that agreed to shut down their business, and then if other people don't shut down their business, then they feel pissed about it because they had to shut down their business. So it's a way to strip away one little right at a time until eventually, what do? They shut down everything that was, so to speak, unessential. And to me, there's nothing more essential than feeding your family. And you guys know where I stood on this entire thing, the whole shutdown, all this stuff. Biggest bullshit in planet Earth. But to me, that's a fucking conspiracy.
Yeah, one thing that I've really noticed when I watched Shadowgate, also Out of the Shadows is really good. But I also watched a few other ones on human trafficking. And I was telling John this, it's like, I remember growing up as a kid, like the big movie that was out and about was like Pretty Woman, remember? And like Hollywood and this movie, like they totally emphasized how like, oh my God, like you can go out and become a prostitute and all your dreams are going to come true.
You can land this hot guy, rich, handsome,
Yeah.
Just by being a prostitute.
But think about the movie Pretty Woman. Now, think where we are now, this day and age. There is so much sex that is thrown out, in the public here. I mean, like, the movies, like a PG-13 movie today is not what it was, 10, 15 years ago. And I'm like, what it's doing is like, what these people have done to us is they don't just throw all this shit out there and want you to kind of, it's the new thing. It's the new normal, right? Like, it's okay. Like, all this shit that's going on now, what you see on TV and movies, music videos, like, it's okay. What they've done is from, years, they've gradually just have made it the new norm, the new normal.
Well, not to mention they're trying to gradually, like literally, there's movements out there that are trying to normalize being a pedophile.
Yeah.
Which is just fucking, I don't give a fuck what you believe. That's the one thing in the Bible Jesus Christ basically said is anybody touches these little fucking kids. I don't know how he said it, but I'm just going to tell you my version. Jesus Christ says, anybody touches any of these little fucking kids or fucks with them in any way that I don't see fit, then you got to step by my judgment and I'm going to fucking wrap something around your head and throw you in the bottom of the fucking lake of hell.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So back to the Pretty Woman. So I watched this movie when I was probably like 11, 12 years old, and I like absolutely love that movie. And I told my mom, she's like, so what do you want to be for Halloween one year? And I was like, I want to be like Julia Roberts in Pretty Woman. I was like, I want to be a hooker.
Woo!
And my mom was like, what?
Cool.
And she's like, no, you'll be a punk rocker. Now, I'll let you somewhat dress like her, but we're going to call it you being a punk rocker.
Punk rocker.
Now, what I've noticed else with some of these things that I've watched is that the average age of someone that gets into prostitution is at the age of 13. A lot of times what they do is a lot of young gals that go missing end up basically going, human trafficking. They get kidnapped. They get brainwashed. They basically just get beat down to where they can't be able to think for themselves. And then here they are out and, walking up and down the streets. I watched this thing to where there was like, she was a famous call girl that was out in Las Vegas, and she's no longer a prostitute. But basically, she was into the whole, Pretty Woman thing. She was just like, you know what? I'm going to go to Vegas. I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do that, and I'm going to be the #1 call girl out there. I'm going to be making a shit ton of money. Oh, it's going to be glorious. It's going to be glamorous, And it wasn't even like that. I mean, she was raped. She was pretty much almost killed. And it's just, in all honesty, it's kind of sad to see stuff like that because look at all the shit out there now that young girls can watch. They're thinking that all this shit's okay to go ahead and do,
Yeah. They even have their own theme song. Pretty woman, walking down the street. Pretty woman, the kind I like to meet. Pretty woman.
Yeah.
Hey, I appreciate it, Brian Vanzo. You the best, homie. But yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like, they really glorify that shit in this day and age.
They do. I mean,
And,
it's on overdrive. Like I told John, I was like, I honestly feel that something is going to like explode because like what else can they do? And I think in all honesty, this is where all this child trafficking has like, it's been around, but I think now it is to the point to where it's horrible. There's a guy in Kentucky, him and his wife were meth addicts, and they were at a gas station, and they were trying to sell their kid for $2,500. They get arrested, and the man is only going to prison for 1 year. Like 1 year.
You know, here's
That's
the thing.
fucked up.
Yep.
That is fucked up.
And there's places in like Hades that is a massive spot for child
Mongolia.
trafficking. In fact, you can actually go there, and there's children that have been, let's just say, bought from their families because it's so poor and there's so much poverty over there. And the truth of the matter is, man, is that America is leading the fucking way in actually fueling that fucking that industry. It's mostly American fucking people that are going over there and either they're buying children for, they got everything from sex to organ harvesting.
Yeah.
That's fucking crazy, man. That's not even a conspiracy theory. It's like if you scroll down our timeline, a couple deal, Russell Brunson shared something with Jesse, who actually raised $2,500 to go to Tim. I can't remember his full name, but if you scroll down, he's got what's the name of that movie that they came out with? Operation.
Something starts with a T.
Yeah, Operation. She'll look it up, but like literally, this guy. He goes over to these other countries and arrests these motherfuckers. Like, and if you watch this this documentary, you see like they will pose and they will act like they're trying to buy these children. And it's fucking crazy, man. It's the saddest fucking thing on planet Earth. Like to see a dude who, I mean, number one, he's like a knight in shining armor. He's going over there and fucking these people up and arresting them and all this stuff. But he's like in the middle of it. He's infiltrating them and he's carrying this child with him. It's a little boy and he takes a candy bar out of his backpack and gives it to him. And he's eating this candy bar. And that's Operation Toussaint. And so the kid's eating this candy bar, but he notices a little girl fall on him. And he kind of walks back to the back and he sees where they're sleeping, which is basically like a fucking a shithole with beds just stacked on top of each other. And there's like 50 fucking children in here sleeping that are basically for sale. And then he quickly realized the little boy that he's carrying that he just gave this candy bar to, the little girl beside him is his fucking sister. And that's all she's ever known that's all she has. Like he realized that that's all she fucking has left is her brother. And that's all he has left is his sister. And they're in the hands of these fucking animals that are going to sell them. It's fucking horrible. You know? And to say that shit isn't happening or to just look the other way, it's like fucking, we're going backwards in humanity or something.
I know.
To like just fucking look the other way. So, you know, this is something that I'm going to stand behind. You know? And I know a lot of you guys, and it's Operation Toussaint. If you scroll down a couple, you'll see that Russell Brunson, his friend Jesse, had raised $2,500, which is enough to save one child.
Yeah, they have over in Cambodia, it's basically, this is sad, that if you have a daughter, that's basically like a golden ticket. Because what you can do is if you have a daughter, you can
sell her.
Rent her out, basically. Basically, these parents are pimping out their own daughters. So that way they can, I don't even want to say like it's like what they've shown. This is a different documentary that I watched, but when they do that and they get that money, they're not like buying a new home or they're not trying to upgrade. They're buying like material things. Mm-hmm. They're buying TVs and DVD players and, you know, PlayStations and all that kind of stuff. And it's just like, it's horrible. It's honestly horrible. Like I've went, I guess, down the rabbit hole, whatever you may want to call it when it comes to
But that child trafficking shit is not a fucking conspiracy theory.
No, it's not. And in all honesty, it makes me very sick that, you know, okay, so like Hollywood, right? Ain't they always supposed to be out there like raising money and doing these organizations and all this and that?
Them
and, like,
motherfuckers aren't saying shit.
right? No, they're not saying shit. There's very few There's very few of them that will say something about that.
That's because they're
But-
probably fucking into it. You know, from what if you want to go further down the conspiracy theory fucking hole, you
Justin
want to follow
Bieber?
the rabbit a little further.
Shall we go down
If you
Justin
want to follow
Bieber?
the rabbit a little further, that a
Justin
lot
Bieber?
of people, let's just say, to get up to the highest levels in Hollywood, got to be fucking initiated in.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And you know what, man? I don't believe that all of them are like that.
No.
But man, there's some serious like information out there that you can go check out and make your own opinion to. But I think some of them motherfuckers are just absolutely fucking pieces of shit and pretty much had to sell their soul to get to the fucking top or wherever they're at. Give you an example. So
Justin Bieber. Okay, so
Yep.
I've seen something on Facebook, and it was about his song Yummy. So John and I listened to the song, and I'm like, okay, I don't really get it. Watch the video. Watch the video, Yummy. It is so fucking disturbing at all. He's got another video. I think it's like, Where Are You Now? You need to watch that video in slow motion. That video is like fucked up as well. Now, I don't know his story. I don't know if he was part of it and then he got away from it, or if he was like sexually abused when he was younger and now he's just trying to make people aware of it, of what's going on. Or I don't know, like something with that religion, don't they like to be kind of flashy about it though too, in a way?
well, yeah. That's the problem with conspiracy theory shit is that like once you feel like you figure something out, you're like, but what if?
Yeah.
Like it's a ever revolving thing. So that's why, you know, some of the shit you just make your best guess. But if you watch that fucking video Yummy and you Google Justin Bieber Yummy, if you listen to it, you're not gonna fucking
No, you gotta watch
you're not
the
gonna get it.
video.
If
You're
you watch
thinking-
the
you're
actual
thinking it's about
video,
food or
when you
something,
see like
you know?
old people like eating these big handfuls of fries and like chewing while there's like little kids on their fucking plates and shit like that, it is fucked up. Like it's some seriously fucked up shit. And he's walking through something. Some of you guys may have heard of Pizzagate. And Pizzagate is apparently pedophiles and shit like that have all these code names that they use for
And little symbols.
code names, and then there's all these little symbols and shit like that. If you haven't watched Pizzagate, look that shit up and definitely watch that documentary because some of the shit is just too fucking ironic and there's too
Yeah.
many connections. Like I
Yeah.
said, I don't believe 100% of it's true, but man, you know, let's just say half of it was true. Or let's just say 20% that you could prove was true. It's still fucked up. Like
Yeah.
majorly. And the whole thing about these people using the word pizza and handkerchief and all this shit.
And hot dog.
And hot dogs as like code for, you know, liking little boys or, you know, all this kind of shit. It's fucking, it's very interesting to read these emails and see like what perverts have been associating with this shit for a long time. These fucking people that are perverts and shit out there probably on the fucking dark web, you know, doing this type of shit. They've been using this terminology and these slangs and shit like that. They're almost like fucking drug dealers. You think about it. They don't want to fucking cover their track, you know, they want to cover their tracks and shit like that. But it's some interesting stuff that we've been watching. And then last night what we started watching
Plandemic, but
the
I
Plandemic.
already watched that. John's like, no, we haven't watched it. I'm like, I've already seen this.
Yeah.
I've already seen this one.
I've been calling this fucking scandemic since day one. And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that COVID-19 is not real. I'm just saying it ain't even fucking close to being as bad as what they're saying.
I like to call it the Corona hoe.
Mm-hmm.
Just because it, you know, puts a little giggle
Yeah.
out there.
But it's
really
so
does.
yeah, it's so interesting because we were actually talking on the way over here, and who's that lady you were looking at her tweets recently?
Oh, Chrissy Teigen.
Who deleted a shitload of fucking
She said
tweets.
she deleted over like 60,000 tweets, and then she did some type of blockchain of like over 1 million people.
But she said something to the nature that she was going to Anthony Weiner some kid. And if any of you guys don't know who Anthony Weiner is, Anthony, which I made fun of this motherfucker since the day that I heard his name.
Yeah.
So Anthony Weiner is a Democratic politician who had not too long ago, was it maybe 3-4 years ago, had basically got hit with
He had something.
he was
going
like
with,
sexting with fucking underage girls basically.
Yeah.
And from my understanding that they had actually confiscated his computer And there are rumors, or let's say conspiracies out there, that when the police actually opened this motherfucker's computer, or whenever the police that were there seen what was on this guy's computer, that they literally fucking threw up. Like there's people that had to go vomit. So who knows what the fuck is on that thing, right? And we'd actually
I was saying that basically because a lot of people were like, well, they need to like unseal it, but I was thinking like, you might want to like, if you might want to like show some, but not all of it, because you know what I'm saying? You know.
Yeah, some of this shit's just sick as fuck. I mean, there was even literally, so the Clinton Foundation who went over to Hades, literally the lady that they sent that was in charge of their cleanup efforts over in Hades, okay, was a convicted sex offender. And so, like, apparently when America went over there to clean up in Hades when we had that big situation, what was it? Was it a hurricane that hit Hades? Earthquake. Some fucking natural disaster. If you guys remember, inside of Kroger's or inside of, any place you go shopping, there was like, donate to Hades and all this kind of shit. Well, apparently a lot of fucking kids came up missing during that time frame, you guys. And it's just crazy, and then you go down all kinds of fucking rabbit holes, man, all the way down to the study of like satanic religions, who essentially, it's called Baal, is the satanic religion. Yeah, it's called Baal.
Baal.
And what it is, it's if you look that up, and actually if you look up the actual meaning of this Baal, who is basically like a horned animal and shit like that sitting on a chair, it's like fucking basically Satan. And it was like back when like literally they believed in all the different what would you call them, like Roman gods and all that shit. Like Baal was part of that. And not to mention that not only that, like I guess Rome, the entryway or the worshiping statue of Baal with the entryway and the hallway got destroyed, and people actually rebuilt that motherfucker, and then they tried to launch it in New York on some sort of ceremony type day, but New York ended up blocking their ability to actually launch it there, which I'm pretty surprised that even happened. They stopped Baal from them launching this, recreating or building this giant building, allowing people to, it's like a satanic worshiping temple. Now, this is fucking true. You guys can call this a conspiracy theory, but this is like shit you can go look up, because they actually did have a ceremony, and they did do it in London. And from my understanding, if you were to follow some of the deepest conspiracy theories, and I don't 100% agree with this, but like, let's just say it wouldn't surprise me. It's almost like aliens, you know what I mean? Like, I don't fucking know they exist, but like if them motherfuckers came, well, number one, I would probably say bullshit now, because I would think it was like government set up and stunt, a government stunt job or some shit like that. But if there was like really aliens, like a fucking alien walked up to me, I'd be like, hey man, yeah, I'm like surprised, but I'm not like super surprised, right?
See, Out of the Shadows is really good because it's two gentlemen that were stunt guys, and basically they worked their way up in Hollywood and became directors. And that's a good one. Watch it, because it takes you down. It opens up your eyes to kind of like know what's going on in Hollywood. I told John, like, every night I have to tell John, I'm like, I need you to tell me one of your favorite Bible verses. I make sure that I listen to some Bob Marley, and because that stuff can like really fuck with your head, because you're just like, this is, because the big thing was, especially like with Hollywood, I thought it was all big like Scientology, and all that kind of shit. And then it's like you read and then you watch these things and you're like, this kind of does make a lot of sense. And then you kind of like, there for a while when John and I would go out in public and stuff like that, I almost totally felt like I was in the Matrix. I really did. I really did.
We're stepping out into.
I know.
We're stepping to the grocery store. Let's go, babe.
Yeah, like it totally felt that way, But I believe, in all honesty, I believe that there are more good people out there than there is bad. And
of course,
good always prevails over evil in the end. And you definitely have to be that happy-go-lucky person. Well, and shine your light, like for real. Like all this bad shit that's going on, like we just need to like throw more positive energy out there.
Yeah, and the truth of the matter is, guys, like years ago, like I knew that the fucking, like if you go all the way back to like Anthony, Anton LaVey, and you go like the Church of Satan and all that shit, like all the way back to the beginning of that shit,
I don't know
they
that.
knew that they needed to get political fucking leverage. They knew that they had to get their people in Hollywood, okay? Because these are the two arenas that you can actually control shit. How can you change the world, whether it's political or whether it's inside of Hollywood? And one of the interesting fucking things that I listened to, and it really fucking struck me, like it really struck me, is when, so literally they talk about, if it's a satanic fucking cult or something like that, casting spells or channeling shit through to you, right? And if you look at TV in general, what do you got? You got a broadcast, you got your channels, and then you got your information flowing into you, okay?
Yeah.
So where would they want to channel information to you to change your perspective? Or let's say just take people's minds who would be in the perspective that would be like more like pure, right? So how do we degrade society? We do that through casting, broadcasting, and through the channels and through that connection through me and you. And then, in all honesty, like the crazy fucking thing is, like all the news stations are basically ran by the same motherfuckers, right?
Oh, yeah. And
Like,
in
it's-
Shadowgate, they do this thing. They line up all these news channels from like all over the United States, and they're saying the same shit. And I'm like, that's a little freaky right there. Just a tad. Just
Yeah.
a tad.
One of the things that was said up here that's pretty interesting, Scott Clark actually made a good point, and Don didn't know this. So Don's in here, and he did not know that Scott actually, Anthony Weiner's wife, is actually
Yeah.
Hillary's right-hand girl.
Yeah. Yep.
That is 100 true, y'all.
Yeah.
That is 100 true. So Anthony Weiner, I think he's doing prison time right now for all of this shit. And
Yeah, but I'm sure they probably have him in an area where nobody can get to him.
he might want people to get to him.
No, I think they would like really fuck him up.
Oh, well.
He'd be gone. He'd be gone. Because like a lot of people that are in prison, they don't like it when somebody gets in and they've been like, that person's been messing around with like a little kid or something, like doing like bad shit. Doesn't go very well over there.
Hey, Jesse was on here talking. He's basically saying, y'all are scrolling the surface. Keep digging. There are media outlets that own and control everything. No, I believe that, Jesse. Actually,
Yeah.
It's true. That's not even a conspiracy. That's a fucking fact.
Yeah.
And it really doesn't matter if it's coming from, I know a lot of you guys that follow me might be Fox News, advocates. But let's just say they give enough of the right to appease the right. But what is Fox News? What are they still doing? They still have a narrative. You know what I mean? They still have a specific narrative of a certain way they're trying to push us. The truth of the matter is, if you look at the news in general, it's trying to divide us as fucking Americans.
Oh, absolutely.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
Where did we ever get in this country to the point to where we can have a fucking disagreement over one specific thing, or we can have a disagreement over one issue and we fucking hate each other?
Oh, absolutely.
You know what I mean? And then if you actually look at the disagreements, you can tell that people have been programmed. Like, you want to talk about programs and channels? Like, people have been programmed how to respond. I don't give a fuck. Go look at arguments up and down inside of Facebook where the right and left are fighting each other. They're saying the same fucking shit.
Yes.
Where do you think they're getting that shit? From the programs. What is the programs designed to do? To divide us. Because if we can't come together as fucking human beings, if we can't unite together, then we're fucking broken, because we're always going to be fighting 50% of each other, regardless. It's interesting that every fucking issue that gets put out there, we're 100% divided. Like, literally, the left will go to their side and they'll pick a side on this issue. The right will go to their side. When do we just step back and take a look as human beings and say, no, fuck that? Like, when do we get to pick a side? No, government, you're not doing this to us. No, fuck that. We're humans, but the problem with it is, if they can keep us divided, they can keep tossing one issue out there after another issue, and they can continue moving their agenda. I talk about it like one of them big-ass fucking saws, where one person's standing on one side of the saw and the other side of the saw, right? This side of the saw is Democrats, this side of the saw is the Republicans, and that saw is being swung back and forth, and the log that's in the middle is the freedom of the American people that's getting chopped in fucking half because we can't agree on shit. We're 50% divided, 50-50, meaning that we literally have to fucking fight half the population over any issue. And, you know, everybody's waiting to step back and just fall into whatever fucking narrative they're being fed or they've been programmed to respond, and just falling back into that, okay? And responding with what they've been programmed to say.
Yep.
Period. You don't think the government doesn't like this divide that we have going on right now in our country, guys?
Oh, they love it. They love it.
Oh, the government loves the divide. Look,
Yeah.
I don't agree with Jesse was just on here. I don't agree with everything fucking Jesse said, but there's no reason I would ever hate that man. In fact, I love Jesse. Always have. He's a great dude. He's a good guy. And, you know, the truth of the matter is, we should be able to disagree. I should be able to disagree with you, Jake. I should be able to disagree with you, Don. I should be able to disagree with you, Steve, Bobby. I should be able to disagree with you. And we should be able to sit back like mature fucking adults and say, well, you know, hey, what you know what I like to say sometimes? I like to say, maybe they're right and I'm wrong. You know, when's the last time? And I think one of the biggest problems with this, and I actually was listening to Priscilla's podcast, and he had a whole podcast about that. And I think one of the biggest problems with us in general as a culture and this whole fucking social media thing is that we associate being wrong with being bad. Being wrong is not bad.
In all honesty, sometimes being wrong can like put you on a different level than being right.
Now, let's just say you're wrong, and then you find out later that you were wrong, and you continue to fucking push that shit, then you're being bad.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? Then you're being bad. But being wrong is not being bad.
No, because
being
that
wrong
gives you a chance
is
of
being
like,
human.
Yeah, and it gives you a chance to taking a step back and looking at yourself and maybe like tweaking yourself, you know, doing a little bit more improvement on yourself. I mean, really, that's what it's all about. You can take that bad situation and turn it into something good. But if you keep doing it, you have a fucking problem. A bad problem.
You know, the thing is, guys, I never really understood the quote completely, the united we stand, divided we fall. And I didn't understand that shit until now, you know?
Yeah.
Until I seen probably the greatest divide that we've ever had as human beings. We're going to be at the point where we're all going to be so divided that we can't even fucking talk to our neighbor without having, like, literally, if you have one conflict or one opinion that doesn't align itself with each other, all of a sudden we're to hate each other or dismiss each other as everything else that we think or feel is wrong. You know, the smartest people that I know, and, you know, I know that I speak my opinion on here quite a bit, but this is my pulpit. But, like, if you're with me and standing with me and we're talking, I seek to understand. Like, I feel that if somebody's on a different side, a perspective of me, I want to seek to understand that person. The smartest people that I know seek to understand.
Yeah.
Because the truth is, you're not going to learn anything by listening to yourself talk. You know, we got 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason. That's literally that's a sales quote. You know what I mean? Like most of the time, people just want you to fucking listen to them.
I tell John that all the time.
And solve a problem or solve an issue. You know what I mean? But the truth of the matter is, we're at a point now as a country where if we don't see eye to eye, we hate each other, and then we associate being wrong with bad.
Yeah.
Or being being wrong with being bad. Being wrong is not bad. Being wrong just means you're wrong. Yeah. And then, in all honesty, the vulnerability to admit you're wrong is a fucking superpower. In all honesty, having the vulnerability to step out and say, dude, I was fucking wrong about that. Mm-hmm. That's a superpower. And I'll give you an example because, I mean, many of you guys know I run Marketing Savage. If you haven't checked it out, go to the Marketing Savage group. But, you know, I deal in business all the time. That's my life, like business. A lot of it's marketing, right? And if I couldn't admit that I was wrong quickly, I would lose all my fucking money. because a lot of it's testing. You're always testing. You're testing, all right? I'm never committed to a specific outcome. I'm committed to results, and you're going to be wrong a lot in business. You're going to make moves that are wrong. But the people that fucking die in business, okay, so to go back to the business perspective, the people that die in business are the ones that keep doing the fucking same shit, and they don't admit to themselves that it was fucking wrong. Mm-hmm. Here's an example. There was a guy on Shark Tank that basically was trying to sell all of these sharks on Shark Tank a fucking media tree, okay? So this media tree was the equivalent of like a rack with a bunch of chargeable iPads in it, where people could take the iPad off the rack and, look through and scroll through. And inside of that iPad, they would sell ads and the doctors could make revenue, but they had like a big barrier of entry, like a $5,000 payment to get these media racks inside of their business, right? So the Shark Tanks listened to what this guy had to say. He was a military veteran. He had fucking basically mortgaged his house for this idea. I mean, it was literally like a $500,000 fucking invention that this guy had. And he was so committed to the idea, literally the guy, Mr. Wonderful, who's probably Kevin O'Leary, who is probably the meanest guy, right? Or let's just say the most fucking honest guy on the show. He pulled out his phone out of his pocket and he said, "Here's your media tree." He said, "Stop." He said, "Stop fucking with this idea." The guy couldn't give up on the idea. Too many people had given him false hope. He couldn't admit that he was wrong. And because of that, he was willing to fucking lose everything. And the truth of the matter is, I mean, just in general, life is a lot like that. If you can't live and sometimes you can't admit that you were wrong, then you're going to live a fucking horrible life, Yeah. And sometimes, in all honesty, sometimes it's better to be happy than right.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You could spend your entire life like literally arguing with people online or arguing with people over these little topics. And why not step back and instead of doing that, try to give a little love to them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Try to add a little love to their life. And I trust me, I know, guys, I get caught in it too. I get emotional. You guys have seen some of the shit I've done in the past. I'm not trying to hide behind anything. I'm just as vulnerable as you guys to get in there and get emotional and want to fight about my beliefs and things like that. But the truth of the matter is, this is a conversation we have to have. This is where I'm at now. What I was a week ago is not who I am today, and what I'm going to be tomorrow is not who I am right now, okay? Because I'm on a constant mission of growth, as all of us are. And I think we all got to step back and really just admit that we don't want to be fighting our brothers and sisters. We don't want to be in war with our neighbors. Man, that's how they fuck us over. Okay?
Yes.
That's how they fucking take everything from us. Mm-hmm. Okay? Literally.
So I'll tell you guys a funny story.
Tell them a funny
I always
story.
like to end it with a funny story. So John was taking me. We were driving down to Mason or whatever because there's a store that I like to go into and whatnot. We're driving through Lebanon, and we passed this garage, and there's an old car sitting out there. I was like, that's a really neat looking car. I was like, it says Charger on the back. John's like, no, it doesn't. It doesn't say Charger. It's a Mustang. It's a blah, 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 blah Mustang. And I'm like, no, I'm pretty sure I think that thing says it's a Charger. And he's like, well, on the way back, we'll stop in there and we'll see what it says. And I'm like, no, let's turn the car around right now. I was like, I want to see if I'm right or if I'm wrong. And John swears up and down he is 100 on this.
I'm going to pull up and this motherfucker's a Mustang. Never mind, I'm driving and I'm more distracted than her.
And, oh, dear Lord, no, because you swore up and down, blah, 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 blah.
But I'm like, damn it, that's a woman. Shit. I'm going to drive by. She ain't no way she's going to be able to tell that's not a Mustang. That's a Mustang, son.
Yeah, I mean, I don't, I like old cars, but I don't really know a lot about them. And we turn around and we pull in there, and guess what? It was a Charger.
It was a Mustang with Charger logos put on it.
It was a Charger. You should have seen John's face. He was like gloating, like he was right, and
it looked like a fucking fastback, guys.
Yeah, because I told him, I'm like, listen, if you're right, we'll just go and just do a little something. It'll be your reward.
It looked like a fastback, guys.
And I was just like, knowing me, like I have no problem saying I'm wrong. Like it doesn't bother me whatsoever. But when he's seen that it was
I admitted
a
that was
Charger,
wrong.
and I was right and he was wrong. It was just like he got so quiet. It was like wah, wah, wah. But it was funny. It was pretty funny.
Yep. So any of you guys who are listening or any of you guys who are watching, if you're in business and y'all haven't joined the Marketing Savage group, you're fucking missing out, guys. You're fucking missing out. Got all kinds of shit going on over there. There's only like 450 people in there. I decided I didn't want to fucking just put anybody in there. So if you are actually interested in business, if you're interested in marketing and you're interested in making money, and you don't want any fucking drama at all, because I'm not putting up with any drama in that group.
No,
that's a group for you, okay, guys? So,
and just to let y'all know, if you guys would love a handmade tinfoil hat, I'll be more than happy to make you one. We'll sell these bad boys for $29.99.
And look, they'll dub as a mask.
That's true.
So you can,
With free
it's kind of
shipping
like
and
putting your
handling.
head in an ice cream cone.
Yeah.
You just
Mine
walk in and
has
be
a
like,
major antenna. Mine has the biggest antenna.
So you guys haven't seen. I don't have a hat in here, but I've been taking, like, if I get stuck, I've been taking my mask. Like, for instance, we were in Texas. We went to eat out at this fucking restaurant out there, and I literally just pulled my hat off my face and stuck it over my face and walked in. Nobody said a fucking word.
No,
man.
and then when you got to your chair, you took it down.
Yeah.
You went into the gas station, did it, and the one lady, she was just like, kept calling him baby. She's like, "You're okay, baby."
Oh, you're okay, baby. Oh, it's all right, baby. You can come on in here, baby. That's what she said. She's like, you can come on in here, baby. You don't got to wear no mask over that face there. Over that pretty little face, baby.
I think you kind of felt kind of awkward, didn't you?
It was kind of, it was
Yeah.
good. She was like, you gonna come on in here, you white boy. You succulent, baby.
Oh, goodness gracious.
Woo! Eat you up like a chicken wing, son. All right, guys. So anyhow, we're going to bounce out of here. We got to get home.
Yeah.
We were going to come on last night, but she had attack of the shits, so we couldn't do it.
No, John. That's not nice to say. My anxiety was acting up really bad yesterday, so it wouldn't have been a good thing. That's not true.
Why didn't you just go along with it?
No, that's not right. You know what? You guys want to hear something funny about him? When John had a virus and he was like laying on the couch, he ended up like shitting himself, and I had to
COVID-19.
and I had to clean it up. He's like, "Don't tell anybody about that."
Oh, well, it's one of them ones where I think I coughed and sneezed at the same time. It was like, I'm like, oh, God. Oh, what happened?
Yeah,
Oh, good Lord.
I know.
Good Lord, have mercy on me.
Even the dogs are smelling their rear ends. They thought they did something. I'm like, no, that's from your dad.
You know you did it up good whenever the dogs are smelling their rear
Oh,
ends.
that was bad.
All right,
was really
everybody.
bad.
Appreciate you. And as usual, we're going to see you on that next one.
Remember, it's all about